Welcome to another episode of Hidden Stories Healed Now, where we share experiences from people who have faced unsurmountable odds, and we provide hope to others. It brings me joy and honor to welcome my first guest today, Decoral Edwards. And one of the things that I want you to sit back and listen to, he's going to talk about the importance of art. How does art change the soul? How does art help us to do things better? What has art done for him through his journey? So welcome, Decoral. I'm glad to have you.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
It is my pleasure. Good morning. Would you share with our audience a little bit about your story and how art became part of what you wanted to do?
Sure. I've actually been doing artwork since I was 4 years old, and it allowed me to slow life down and allowed me to observe the environment and really tap into what makes people do the things that they do. And 40 some odd years later, I instruct across the nation on a few abstract galleries and just having a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, with the art, was art, when you started doing your art, was it to overcome any challenges? Were there any issues? What actually occurred that caused you to get into art and stay with it?
Growing up in Syracuse, New York, it was an inner city type of environment. Mm-hmm. And so you would see a variety of things going on. And I was always curious, why do people act this way or look this way or interact with the community in a certain kind of way? So what I would do was I would go home and I would sketch. And once I sketched, it seemed like the sketches would start to look like people around the neighborhood. And that just kept me intrigued with creating something from nothing.
So did you ever talk to these people? Did you ever have conversations? And if so, what kind of conversations did you have?
Most of them were adults. So I was a young kid. I was looking at them from a distance. But with me playing sports, a lot of people got to know me. And one thing that's said right now about me from a lot of my peers is I've always had a pencil in my hand. I was always drawing. So for me to stick with it for this long is a success story from the community.
So is that all you've ever done? Have you used your art in any other way besides drawing?
I've also been a master barber, fashion designer, graphics designer, anything that you can put art on, walls, sneakers, clothing, I've done a little bit of everything.
That's awesome. How does it make you feel emotionally? Let's talk a little bit, these are the things that we don't discuss, right? Mm-hmm. We all talk about picking up a pencil, we talk about drawing, we talk about sketches, looking at art in terms of telling a story, right? And so as you would observe people and you would look at what people were doing, and then go home and sketch that. Mm-hmm. What story were you telling yourself? How did this help you spiritually, emotionally? Did coming up in an urban area with challenges around you, did it help you overcome some of those challenges? And if so, how?
It helped me to realize that everybody cannot take criticism. Everybody cannot look in that mirror and accept the reality of who they are. So for me at a young age, I think the most difficult part was showing people what I was creating, and especially if it resembled them. Some people don't want to see themselves on a piece of paper or on a canvas in a manner where it shows the true them. So for me, emotionally, it helped me to maintain a balance, but it just poured more into my curiosity of the human experience and why people do what they do, why they think the way they think and talk the way that they talk. So, and it's also allowed me to be kind of even-toned with judgment and criticism towards my fellow people.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about this judgment and criticism. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more. What is it that it helped you to do with that? Because I do believe that art is an expression.
Very much so.
Right? And as you're doing an expression and you're learning, how did it help you? What did it do? Talk to us a little bit about that.
It helped me to be confident, but it's kind of twofold. With me growing up with a nice sized gap in my mouth,
yes,
I received a lot of jokes and stuff like that, but the artwork gave me a confidence, again, going back to creating something from nothing. My emotional state has always been I can retreat to my creativity when I didn't want to be involved or submerged into big crowds or, just any kind of situation. So it helped me become strong, which helped me to become a great sports athlete. But even when I would stray away from doing the artwork, the strength came from me creating something from nothing, looking at my environment and taking that skill set into other endeavors that I might go into.
Now, that's a really interesting perspective. And as we continue to explore, I'd like to really understand, as someone who I admire art.
Thank you.
I love art. Of course, I've seen some of your great artwork.
Thank you.
But I think what it is how do we share that message with others when you are talking about them? How do we emotionally say, I was observing you and this is what I saw.
Right.
This is what came to mind. How do you begin to have those kinds of conversations so that others can open up to what you're actually observing?
Art very much so is an outlet for a lot of people, especially myself. I think when you're showing people artwork that may have something to do with their lifestyle or that resembles them, you can't say this is the bad part about you. You have to say this is the full uniqueness of you. It just so happens that there's a yin and a yang. You never want to approach somebody with artwork that points out qualities that they may not be ready to confront. So that would explain why you may have some abstract work, you may have landscape work, you may have a little bit of pop art, but it may just be the color that appeals to the person and not the subject or the content itself. So everything, I think art has a draw for everybody. It just depends on how you introduce it to them.
That's a very interesting perspective. We're going to take a station break. And when we come back, I really want to explore a little bit more of if someone is interested in doing this, if they're trying to get into art and they want to use their expressions, what are some of the things that they could begin to start with to help them get there? We'll be right back.
Every story has a hidden element that is not often shared. Hidden Stories, Healed Now, with host Vicki Wright-Hamilton, seeks to share the hidden gems in real-life experiences. Our guests are ordinary people sharing their stories of overcoming insurmountable odds while providing hope and inspiration.
Welcome back. Decorah, I'm really enthused by this conversation, because I know that art comes in many different forms. We have digital art, we have pencil art, we have paintings, we have different kinds of things. Mm-hmm. I'd really, as the audience is out there listening to you and talking about the fact that, you have observed someone, you're coming to speak to them. And I think it's really important what you just said. The language that you use is not that something's right or wrong. It's just that you do things differently, right? And can you talk to us about how you have taken this art to help others grow and develop from what you have observed? Can you share a story or two around that?
What has been very, great up until this point was when the pandemic happened and everybody was at home. And so I thought of a way to connect with people around the nation virtually instructing artwork. I never say teaching, instructing. And what happened was I allowed people to be themselves. You're in the comfort of your home, it's virtually. You can have the camera on or off if you want to, but we start off with messing the paper or the canvas up. And for those people that may not be that artistically inclined, it can't get any worse than that. So it's an automatic confidence booster right there. I instruct to not follow and create what I'm creating, but I instruct by words. How does this word make you feel? How does this sound make you feel? And whatever comes out of you, that's your outlet. After we're all done, I ask the guest or the students, put it somewhere that you're gonna look at every day, sort of like a vision board, and know that that is your creation. And every day you're gonna look at it, you're gonna pick something out of it that reminds you of you. Focus on that part and have fun with creating. And that's something that you can do on your own.
Wow. And you know what? I also think what you have actually shown is how parents can work with children.
Very much so.
You know, you think about, getting the best out of your children and wanting them to thrive and to get, the confidence,
Right.
the ability to know I can do this too.
Right.
And it feels like all of this instruction, I like the word that you use, instruction. And how does a sound make you feel? How does a color make you feel? What does this mean to you?
Right.
So it's all self-identified and that it's a part of them. That's phenomenal. I just think that is a way to help people identify with themselves.
Well, I love telling this story. There was one in particular moment when I had a huge breakthrough. All right, there was a young lady, I won't say her name, but she was around the age of 13 years old, and her parents were trying to identify with her how she wanted to identify gender-wise. And so at the time I had the Coral Art Gallery. They had been trying for about a year, so a friend of mine bought her, and the mother and father bought. And I said, this is what we're gonna do. You guys go to the back, I'm gonna turn some music on, and I'm gonna set up 2 canvases. And me and the young lady started painting the canvas for about 10 minutes. But while we're painting, I'm talking to her. Halfway, we swapped. And so now I'm finishing what she's creating, and she's finishing what I'm creating. When we got to the end of it, this young lady had told me her story. I just confirmed to her, you're a beautiful young lady. You're incredibly talented. Your artwork is your voice. You don't have to scream it out. And the breakthrough came maybe a week later when her mother called me and said, we have our child back.
Wow.
Their communication was wide open. And that's all I did.
Wow. Now, see, that's the power of art.
Very much
That
so.
is the power of the process. And I hope that you all are listening and thinking about, we talk a lot about meditation. We talk a lot about getting through emotional challenges. I think this is just another tool that allows people to actually increase their communication, get through those challenges and actually try to get to, on the same level playing field. What a beautiful story to share. And congratulations on being able to make a difference in the lives of not only a family, but a 13-year-old child that's really trying to figure out, who am I? What does this mean? Where do I want to go?
Right.
I just think that that's so powerful.
And the end part of that story was, I was doing a live performance in front of maybe 5,000 people. And I was surprised that she was introduced to me as my assistant that day. So, I mean, my eyes got, it was beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That is awesome. And with you having a child of your own, I'm sure I can see the things ticking already and talking about my daughter and what that's going to look like going forward as well.
9 months old, she's already taught 5 art classes with me.
Nothing like having a 9-month-old assistant, right?
I love
Teaching them early.
Yes.
Getting them ready so you can teach them early and get them going. So we talk about canvases. And some people don't want to actually start on a blank piece of paper.
Right.
I'm not good with a drawing pen. I'm not good with a paintbrush. What other types of things can they begin with rather than just paper?
What I like to start people out with are shapes. We may do a session in which we just create something from circles, triangles, and squares. And when you start to merge those together or even leave them independently on their own, you start to see something form. What I try to instruct is, what are you starting to see? Let your imagination, your creativity go. You may not see what I see, but you will start to feel and see something in that work of art. Take a minute, pause. You can use a canvas, you can use a Xerox piece of paper, you can use, my mother will laugh at this, sneakers, clothing, a wall, but whatever it is you feel comfortable with, just start creating.
Well, we're going to take a station break. When we come back, I have a couple of questions I want to ask you. One, about tattoos and the art and what that looks like. And 2, I want to see if we have a question or comment from the audience. We'll be right back.
Every story has a hidden element that is not often shared. Hidden Stories, Healed Now with host Vicki Wright-Hamilton seeks to share the hidden gems in real-life experiences. Our guests are ordinary people sharing their stories of overcoming insurmountable odds while providing hope and inspiration.
Welcome back. I hope you're enjoying this episode as much as I am. I'm going to tell you, I'm learning a lot. And I'm learning about the power of art and what we can do. And your stories that you're sharing about how you're changing lives, how you're changing families, thinking about what you did during the pandemic, trying to give people to release those emotions. Do you work with any of the healthcare industries, or is that something where they're gravitating towards art in terms of helping people that are dealing with emotional challenges? I know, we talk about whether it's a mental institution or places where people are going to get help. Art is always something that, okay, let's focus on art. Let's do something with it. Do you do anything like that, or is there any advice that you can give to others that are thinking about emotionally what they're going through in terms of moving forward?
What I typically do is I work with specific counselors and psychologists instead of working with a group of people. And I ask them what are some of the situations that are going on, especially with the kids with isolation, with adults with isolation. It was a long 3 years with the pandemic.
Yes.
And a lot of people figured out they may not like the household that they're in with other people. So again, with it being an outlet and it's a language, depending on how you approach it, it has to be, with the counselors and the psychologists, it's a series of what is making people feel good, not so much as what's making them feel bad, and how can we keep promoting that? Promoting that comes in the forms of colors. It comes in the forms of, again, with the language, I am good because, or I do good because, and I am independent and confident because. And then when they have to approach those questions, you have to look at those people that are around you, because if you're younger, you're getting it from somewhere. If you're a little bit older, it will still talk to you, but now it's your responsibility to push it back out, so.
Wow, that's like I said, I think all those are very interesting. I do have a question though. Is there a difference, just because I'm so left brain,
Right.
okay? And I would tell anybody, oh, I don't have a creative bone in my body. And they were like, yes, you do, yes, you do. I was like, I'm so left brain, it's black or white, blah, blah, blah. That's just how I was raised. But is there anything scientific that talks about the difference between an abstract piece of art and a defined piece of art, whether that art is a picture of a person or a picture of a thing? Is there anything that scientifically that's about that, or is it just how we observe?
Well, I'm not sure as much as the science behind it, but the way some people view art, it can be objective or non-objective. So that's where we get into, there's a definite circle in this work of art, or there's a definite face or an animal in this work of art. And some people are attracted to the specifics. They don't have to think much about what they're looking at, while other people want to dive in, they want to sit back and relax and try to find what's in this work of art, but they're both attached to mood setting. That's why a lot of my artwork is based off of creating a mood in your home or office with colors and things like that to make you feel a certain kind of way. So if you're in your office and you want to be a little, like in a good mood, then I'll use like a tangerine orange or something like that. But I guess if there was a science behind it, there's a reason why gel cells are a certain color.
That's powerful.
Very powerful. There's a reason why the lines in the street are yellow instead of green, and we all get associated with different colors for different reasons, and we learn to pattern our life by those colors.
That's interesting. This has just been a powerful conversation. Let's see if we have a question or a comment from the audience.
Hello, my name is Soraya, and First, I want to say that I really love that you define art as an outlet and that you attach language and feelings to it. So in thinking about the things that I went through as a child, I was wondering if you have ever or if you've considered working with schools and children who may be going through abusive situations at home that they are, keeping secret, and art might allow them to be able to communicate those things to the trusted adults in their lives.
Thank you very much for that question. I definitely do work with schools. I've actually worked with schools that there was a little bit of language barrier also, where it may be a predominantly Spanish-speaking school. It may be a predominantly Black school. I've worked with very diverse settings. And what I've found is that when you have children that have been in an environment where their voice has been silenced, it's better to approach them in a manner of repetition. So I will start with a series of lines. And once I get them comfortable enough, I'll say, what line do you want to create next? It may be a curved line. Once I gain their confidence, they still may be a little timid as far as speaking about a specific situation, but they will start to open up enough where I can say, okay, engage this child this way, and you'll get more information from them. But don't be overbearing as to tell me this, tell me that. Eventually the child is going to open up like a book. You just have to learn what to read about this kid. So, and also being a master barber for years, dealing with kids that are autistic and things like that, it's just all being calm and gaining their trust so that they will engage you. Thank you.
That's so powerful in terms of gaining trust, because I think about trust not only from gaining trust from those individuals, but we talk about couples therapy, we talk about family, we talk about, there's all kinds of things that we have to address, and it's how do we do this objectively, so that it's not feeling like you're taking their side or their side. It's really more of, can we have a piece of art that we can have language around? This is what it means to me, this is what it means to you, but this is what I need, but this is what you need.
Definitely.
Right, in terms of bringing that together. I just think that that's, you're giving us tools, and I hope, audience, you're able to take some of these tools and actually utilize them. I know I'm going to start utilizing some of them with my autistic grandson. He is my heart, he's my world, all my grandbabies are. I love all three of my grandbabies. But knowing that he needs that little extra, and allowing me the opportunity to say, you do it, you show me what you want. What does that mean to you? And helping him to have that repetition, because that's what you do with autistic children anyway, is a lot of repetition, but helping them with that communication and being able to come forward. I always thought about art as, we'll just get crayons and we'll just color, but we've always colored what they've given us, a coloring book, or you sketch within the lines, but to think about the fact that you're going to allow them to be them. What is it that I like? So the last question I have for you is the art of tattoos. People talk about the ink, and that tattoos are an expression for an individual, and that it is what they're using is their body as a canvas. As opposed to something else, right? In terms of telling that message. Is there any, from your experience, just from what you've observed and what you've seen, is there any reason people use their body as a canvas versus something that's not attached to them?
Well, I think tattoos are great. I think it is a form of expression. It took me forever to get my first tattoo. And I just recently got my second tattoo last week. It is a canvas. And I love when the tattoos express the aura of the person, the commitment of the person, because a tattoo is forever for the most part. So to put something on your body is a huge commitment. I just like when it's done right, and when the person can talk about, this is what this tattoo means to me, or this is what this tattoo has done for me. And some of it is a fad also. I see the face tattoos and things like that, and it is what it is. If that's how you want to express yourself, have fun with it, but be able to talk about it, but know that you're going to get older So choose something that will represent you for a lifetime and not just for 2 years.
That's very good advice too, because it is ink that stays with you, right? It stays with you to the time that that you go. I know when I look at tattoos, and I always ask them, "Oh, it's a beautiful tattoo. What does it mean?" And people are willing to tell you their story and tell you what it means in terms of moving forward.
Another form of engagement.
Exactly. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you.
Audience, will you thank me? Help me thank my guests for being here today. Thank you so much, Decorah.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Hidden Stories Healed Now, where we share those insurmountable odds and we share opportunities with those that may be in need. See you next time.